Keep in luck, SCR. 저는 여러분들의 호스트를 맡은 J.fitz입니다. I'm your host, J.fitz. Yeah. Well, we have a very special guest tonight. Please come to us. Here's Nick Sabine, the founder of RA, Resident Advisor. Say hello to the viewers, please.
Hello, Korea.
Hello, Korea. I think there are viewers from other countries as well.
And
right?
Hello, everybody else as well.
Hello, world. Hey, come on. Say something. Hi. And here's the founder of SCR coming up.
It's just a cameo role, right?
Yeah.
UK meets Oz.
So we are working on SCR together.
How's that?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So we are interviewing Nick for like half an hour, I guess. Yeah, and then we are discussed about like, you know, how he come to Seoul, and then what does he think of Seoul scene, and also we are asking a lot of things about RA, because we Koreans have a lot of curiosity. All right, start from introduce yourself, I think. Can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Right. Yeah, sure thing. So my name's Nick Sabine. I'm the co-founder of Resident Advisor.net.
Well, you and Paul Clement from Sydney were founded it, right?
That's correct. Back in 2001. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you didn't expect that this project would be this big, right?
No, it was never meant to be this big. Mm-hmm. It's we were just two kids that just absolutely loved music, and you know, we were going out every Friday night, every Saturday night. You know, Sydney back in, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s had a really thriving scene, and we were very much caught up in that in the best possible way. And I think both of us, you know, both of us discovered electronic music at around the same time, and you know, met on various nights out, and then kind of came up with the idea of RA from there.
Oh, you can adjust mic as you want. Like if it's uncomfortable, then you can just move your microphones like this way.
So I mean, so far so good.
So far so good. Hear that? All right. And yeah, I got a passion. I feel that your passion of electronic music a lot. And then you're posting a lot of electronic music news and artists and gigs and etc. And then you did all this stuff whilst you are working in a daytime job, right? It's probably very, very difficult.
That's right. It's well, I mean, obviously it was a lot less work at the beginning because it was a lot smaller, and you know, we just started it as a hobby. It was a side project just to write about music that we liked.
Was it like a blog?
No, it was pre-blogs, pre-social networks, so like no Facebook, no MySpace, no nothing. So I think we got quite lucky actually, because you know, we essentially just wanted a home on the internet to talk about music that we loved, and wanted to introduce to other people and things like that. And I think had the opportunity to perhaps build a blog, you know, exist in the easy way that it does now, perhaps we might have done that. But at the time, if you wanted to say something on the internet in the way that we wanted to say it, you needed to have a website. And fortunately, Paul knows a lot more about that than I do. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any visions of like make this thing into something more like a community, or do you want to just keep for yourself? Like sometimes people just posting stuff for just, you know, documenting or archiving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we always had a community aspect. That was
in Sydney, right?
It was part of the site from the beginning. Yeah, it was originally just a Sydney thing, but you know, the beauty of the internet is it's essentially borderless, as I'm sure this radio station will find out over years to come. You know, when you attract listeners from all over the place, and we kind of benefited from the same thing, really, in the sense that you know, we started focusing on the scene that we were spending all our time being a part of, and we just kind of naturally outgrew that as more and more people around the world became interested in what we were doing. And you know, we built the site not to necessarily be this kind of global portal and global platform, but just fortunately in the way that Paul and another gentleman, Dave, had built the site, it kind of allowed for the site just to grow and develop internationally in the way that it did.
Yeah, I had a question. How many visitors were into your website when you just started? How many?
About 4.
And now?
Now we have over 30 million in a year.
Hear that? Wow, wow, you guys make it so big, from the beginning.
Yeah, I think one of the nicest things is we've always been really focused in terms of what we write about. Internally we kind of just have this mandate that we just write about stuff that we're interested in and stuff that we like. Yeah. And we're just lucky that nowadays more and more people care about the stuff that we care about, And I think, with the RA's tastes and RA's coverage has got a lot broader over the past, certainly kind of 5, 6, 7 years, because our tastes as a company and as a team have broadened, but our editorial team's got bigger, and so we now have more perspectives commenting on the scene and introducing our audience to new music. And I think electronic music in general is broader than it's ever been before. So, but generally speaking, like it's still kind of with that same sense of kind of RA focus, if you like. It's just more and more people seem to be interested in what we're writing about now than ever before. Yeah.
So, and you are branching out to the London eventually, right? Because you think London is the hub of all the electronic music, right?
No, I went there for my brother's wedding.
Okay. Sorry.
No. It's a logical question. That's the thing. In the early days, we didn't necessarily have this big global master plan. We were doing it on the side of other jobs, and it was starting to take up more and more time, and we were enjoying it more and more. But even in the early couple of years, you don't necessarily foresee where it is now, if you like. So, but we had, Paul and I both had personal ambitions to live in Europe. Growing up in Sydney is, you kind of look at the world as something that's incredibly far away, and the idea of experiencing the world is something that you really look forward to as a child. So I think we just generally had a personal life ambition to live in another part of the world, and so Paul moved to Berlin and I moved to London, and that kind of it made a lot of sense for RA, but it wasn't a strictly kind of business decision. It was kind of a personal decision that also had a lot of benefits for RA.
I never imagined that I live in a southern hemisphere, to be honest, because I never experienced any summer in December, stuff like that. But actually, I'm going to Chile in December, so actually I feel this quite opposite way. I want to go to Australia and see how it looks like and stuff like that. Can you tell us how it feels living in the southern hemisphere?
Yeah, I mean, I've spent I was going to London for 4 weeks, and I haven't gone home yet. I've been in London for 13 years. So
London is your home then?
Yeah, London's home.
New home.
Home for good, I think. Yeah. So it's so I'm probably as clued up about Sydney as you are now.
Okay. Continue to my questions. What are the main hurdles you faced from being a startup company to become this established company you are now?
I think, initially there's obviously, there's the funding aspect.
Yeah.
We started RA with, I put in 400 Australian dollars and Paul did the same. And that's the only money we've
400. Wait a minute, 400.
400. And that's the only money that we've ever put in into the company. We've never borrowed any money or whatever. So we just grew very organically. And, I think we also started at a time that businesses and ideas were allowed to grow slowly and grow at a different rate and develop. And, we were still establishing what we were, and, we had certain principles that we wanted to stick to in terms of journalistic integrity, and, the importance of independence was always crucial to us. But, the first 5 years, you're really kind of trying to work out exactly what you are. And I think nowadays it's incredibly difficult to do that, because the model is come up with an idea, then raise money to launch it. If it doesn't work in 6 months, then it's a failure. Move on to the next thing.
My boss actually did the same thing to me. So I'm keep saying, just please wait until 6 months. I'm just keep asking him to just being patient. But these days, people are not patient anymore.
No, and I think it's because the models change so much.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're, you know, before you've, you know, to raise the money, you've got to sell in this big idea and this big vision and this big payback for the investors. And so those investors that buy into it, you know, they want to see that return and they want to see that return quickly. So, but that can have a really negative impact on, you know, on the development of the idea, you know, especially if you're trying to do it with the, you know, hopefully the level of sincerity that we approach it with.
Hear that, my boss? you gotta listen to this guy.
Yeah, give him 15 years and then judge the station.
Okay, continue to my questions and then tell us about In Residence series. I think this is a very crucial question to you. Right now we are composing everything in Seoul in the name of RA In Residence. So can you tell us about the idea of this thing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the concept for the series was really just to shine the spotlight back on clubs and club culture. You know, clubs are genuinely the beating heart of this scene, and you know, without nightclubs, and certainly without, you know, the best nightclubs in the world that are supporting interesting musicians and local musicians, like we just don't have a scene. Yeah. And you know, one of the things that we'd noticed over the last few years is this kind of shift in attention and focus towards, you know, festivals and you know, warehouse off-location parties and things like that. Yeah. And you know, we don't want people to ever lose sight of the value of nightclubs and the value that they have for our scene, and you know, introducing new people to the music. You know, I was musically educated in nightclubs. You know, that's how I learned everything I learned about music. And
do you know how to DJ then?
Yeah, badly. I'm all about the selection.
You said you learn everything.
Yeah.
No?
I'm all about the selection, not the transition.
Oh, that's DJ all about, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I tell everyone in the office.
Okay.
So we just really wanted to, you know, just remind people, and you know, a lot of people know that anyway, but just kind of put a bit of a focus on, and really just celebrate the people that we think are doing it the best, and the people that we think are doing it for the right reasons, and you know, the people that have a strong creative vision for what they want their nightclub to be, and just celebrate that, because it's worth celebrating. Yeah,
that's just pie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then you did a successful branch out to Abstract Science Radio and Rinse FM France recently, right?
Correct.
So I was wondering that is RA In Residence also looking for the way to collaborate with local radio station, because you know, obviously the people in, for example, Seoul can enjoy what's happening in Seoul, but the people in other countries couldn't really feel that way. But from the radio station, they can feel this atmosphere a little, right? So I was wondering, like, is this like part of your program that you're continue to reaching out to the local radio stations?
Yeah, it's not so much the radio stations. It's radio stations, record stores, labels, artists. It's for us. It's one of the reasons why we decided to spend a month in each city was to allow us the opportunity to really focus on the city, spend time here, get to know the people, get to know the labels, get to know the record stores. Really learn. It's as much for us to learn more about these individual scenes as it is for us to celebrate the particular venue that's doing amazing things in that city. So that's a big part of the 4 nights allows us to book 4 very different lineups that showcases 4 different styles of music that is that kind of highlights exactly the kind of the booking approach for the venues. And so that's the kind of one of the thinkings in terms of actually allowing us to book 4 nights over a month. But then the other reason is, so RA actually spends a month in that city and actually gets to know a little bit more about, in this case, Seoul and, the venues that are doing great things and, the artists that are making really interesting music and the best DJs. So then we come away after that month with a far deeper sense of what's happening here. And also and a far deeper sense of where we can potentially help as well. Like one of the reasons we built RA and certainly the versions of RA that have been developed later on is really to allow... Oh, there's another version of RA, sir. No, just in terms of various updates that we've made over the time is it's been designed in a way to support the development of scenes. And, so Korea doesn't necessarily need to have its own resident advisor. Like resident advisor exists, and if you're a promoter, you can use the platform in a certain way. If you're an artist, you can use it in a certain way, and if you're a fan, you can use it, to discover new music and new nights and so on. The digital platform and the ecosystem exists here. It's just about introducing people to it in the right way, and hopefully people in Korea, when they want to learn a little bit more about electronic music and the artists that are doing great things in this space, they turn to RA to help them on that journey.
Yeah. Will you make RA Korean version then?
Not at this stage. No.
Not this stage. Okay.
Music's universal, anyways.
Exactly. 그러니까 지금 말씀하신 게 RA를 잘 사용하시면 우리 아티스트 분들이 그리고 클럽 관계자 분들이 이제 여러분들의 파티와 이 문화 활동을 프로모션하는 데 좋은 도움이 된다는 말씀이셨습니다. Well, in terms of that you wanted to know about this scene, I think, to dig into Korean culture is all about drinking soju, right? We discussed about it, right?
I found that out last night.
How was it?
It was good, actually. It's a little bit like drinking sake in Japan, actually. You're drinking it. It's really nice. You don't really feel anything, and then it creeps up on you, and then everyone that you're drinking with ends up kind of loopy, in the best possible way, and then it's a guaranteed good night.
Yeah, exactly. Feel that? Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about last night then. How was last night in MYSTIK?
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. To be honest.
Dixon were playing it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I was in that club, but I couldn't get in because the queue was so long.
Yeah,
I can't get in there.
It was quite funny. Obviously, as you know, it's it's not the biggest club. It only holds like 170 people. But there were, before the doors opened, there were more people in the queue than would actually fit into the club, which is kind of funny. On a Thursday night in Seoul as well, which isn't traditionally one of the biggest nights of the week.
Yeah. Well, on Thursday night is getting bigger and bigger nowadays. Yeah. Strangely, because more international artists are stopping by Korea, and then they are throwing some parties, and then I think nowadays Koreans are getting more get used to like Thursday night. Concept. So, which is, I think
the people there last night would definitely look like they were used to that.
Okay. Yeah. And then let's continue to the other questions. How do you what makes you choose Club MYSTIK as an RA in residence?
Yeah, I mean, for me, being at the club last night was, it focused exactly why we chose MYSTIK as a venue. I think it's, when we were kind of putting together the short list of, the 12 venues that we wanted to celebrate, the first 4...
How do you find these guys? Like, because MYSTIK is a very good club, and the residents DJs are in that club are the best DJs in Korea. But normally they are like hidden behind the mystical curtains. They always act like a mystical creature. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't know if they live or not.
Yeah, do they actually exist?
Yeah. So how do you find these guys? So amazing.
We when we're putting together the short list, obviously the first 5, 6, 7 venues are that you kind of write down are quite obvious. There's certain venues that like Smart Bar in the US and Robert Johnson.
Smart Bar.
And places like that are like straight away when you think of really, really tight curation, a really, really dedicated team, a great space, all of those things that go into making a great club. Like you can kind of start to reel off a few really quickly. But we kind of wanted to cast a wider net than that. And I actually think a big part of the series is actually celebrating the people that are doing great things in cities where there isn't necessarily huge demand.
Exactly.
Because you kind of have to essentially build the scene as you build the club, and you have to build a business that's sustainable at the same time. That's incredibly difficult. Like you take MYSTIK as a venue and you stick that in Berlin or Amsterdam, for example, or Paris or whatever, and it's it's a great club in that space, but it's you've got an already willing audience there, right? Who want to experience something like that, and they want to experience the music that's been showcased in that space. Whereas somewhere like Seoul 5 years ago, you know, that's a big risk, you know, to do something like that. And I think to have that kind of self-belief and that vision, that dedication and that passion, which is everything that we had at the beginning and still do have for RA, is, you know, we really identified with that. And I think that's the thing that, you know, it's really important that we celebrate those clubs and especially those people as well, because I think one of the most interesting things when you actually looking back at the series now, and we didn't necessarily realize this at the beginning, but you realize that the one common thread between all of the venues is one or two people, most often the case one person with their vision, incredible dedication, and it's that person's vision and dedication and passion that is the thing that actually drives that venue into being a success and creating this amazing story and you know, and actually becoming a really successful nightclub for all the reasons that, you know, we're here to celebrate that. And I think, and that's actually, you know, obviously great sound is important and a you know, nice looking room and all of those, and a good crowd and all of those things are obviously important. But actually, the one kind of unifying factor throughout everything was actually that usually that one person that had a really singular vision for what they wanted the space to be, and they were super dedicated to actually executing on that. And, and I think, you know, and I think Stephen, who runs MYSTIK, is a perfect example of that.
He's a guy with passion, right? Yeah. Well, there are, I think there are more people with those passions, and then they run their own nightclub or they run on their like labels in Korea. You know, I think RA starts to discover more of these people because in Korea we have more longer history of nightclub, but always fails in some in some point because of what you're saying. You know, the passion. There are people who lack of passions a lot.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, the passion can die, but equally, you know, running the business aspect of a club like that, because, you know, that is not easy. No, and I think, you know, and certainly initially, like, it's obviously, you know, when, you know, more commercial music is more popular in a city like Seoul, like, you can understand why venue owners decide,
Gangnam
like,
Style,
you know, I didn't think we'd be mentioning that. It's but you know what I mean, like, so the venue owners can often, you know, you can understand why they're like, actually, you know what, I just need to make the numbers work, I need more people in this club, I'm just going to book more commercial music because you know, I need to get bodies into the club. And that, like, in the short term is obviously fine for the balance sheet, but then the club loses any sense of identity, and you know, and people, you know, lose interest in that. And I think but that's why I come back to that point of dedication, because I have no doubt that, you know, Stephen and the team running Seoul would have had some really difficult moments over the last 5 years, you know, and probably still will. And it's that commitment to the original vision that is such a powerful thing, and it's such a thing that we wanted to celebrate.
Yeah, vision. It's all about vision and extra passion, right? Yeah. Okay. There are more clubs, like I mentioned, that showing these passions and you know, visions, like a Club Faust did a really good job, Club K-Shop and Pistols and Midnight Soul. There are other, you know, clubs that doing a really nice job. So, you know, maybe after this broadcast, they probably, you know, I think some of them already you know, registered as a club in the Resident Advisor, and then I hope more and more Korean people, you know, get in there and get some more information, because right now we don't have proper like internet community for sharing the, you know, electronic music you know, information. So I think we need to, you know, shift from what we got to the from there to RA then.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's, you know, that's essentially why we're here, and that's why we exist, you know, to help people who want to discover more about the music that we're passionate about, to do that. And, you know, especially people if they've got a passing interest in electronic music from what they've heard on the radio or what have you, you know, potentially they've kind of fed up with that or whatever, or they want to hear more and they want to dig a little bit deeper, and that's essentially why we're here, you know? Yeah.
And last question, can you recommend 5 artists that you're really into?
Yeah, sure. So I'll actually reference our show that we did at Amsterdam dance event, actually.
Oh yeah, some of Korean artists went there too. So yeah, I was interested in like seeing that, but I missed you guys' show.
You're excused.
So.
Yeah, so I think we booked Actress.
Yeah.
For that show, and I was incredibly impressed with his performance. And then in room 2 we had a couple of guys from Washington DC called Beautiful Swimmers.
Beautiful Swimmers.
If you get a chance, check them out. They were absolutely brilliant. And then in terms of other DJs who I'm really enjoying at the moment, Ben UFO I think is. He was in Seoul like last month, I think. Yeah, how was it? I think he's an incredible DJ, and certainly one of the DJs that I.
He played like 5 hours, 4 hours, something like that.
Yeah. Were the kids into it?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Which club?
In Cake Shop. Yeah.
And, does someone like him have a big profile here?
They made us some, profiles in there. Then you can check that out.
And then also from the ADE show, actually, an artist by the name of Suzanne Kraft, who made
I heard of her.
Made an incredible ambient album a few years ago, which was great. And then a lifelong favourite of mine, who we've actually got playing with Ben at our next London show in honour of Fabric, is Craig Richards. Who for me was actually one of the DJs that kind of educated me when I first got to London, and used to spend every Saturday night, every month, every week, at Fabric in the main room, and he was a big part of my original London musical education. So
Well, speaking
he's
about
still bringing the heat.
Yeah, well, speaking about Fabric, we wanted to speak more about it, but I think the time is up. So thank you for joining us. And then it was really nice to have you here. And then it was really nice to hear, the word from the innovator. I think, as because SCR is also like startup business, and then we can get a lots of passions from you, and then we have more hope in the future that we can do something with RA in this particular city called Seoul.
Yeah, I mean, look, based on what I saw last night, there's an incredible appetite and enthusiasm for great electronic music, and already within the space of a couple of days, I've met some brilliant people who are clearly super dedicated, and that's exactly what you need. So I think it's in good hands based on what I've seen. Okay,
so we'll move to our DJs again, Antwerp and Magical. Please come here, and then can you guys play more music for us?
Cool.
For half an hour.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Yeah. So we are not finished yet. We are playing more tracks from one of the best clubs in Korea, MYSTIK. This DJ, his name is Magical, and the guy who's on my right is Antwerp, and they are one of the best DJs in Seoul. I used to listen their mix set a lot, since 5 years ago, right? He used to work as a resident DJ in a club called Social Club in Seoul, which closed down few years ago. But he continues his journey onto music until these days, and then he still does select amazing tracks. So are you ready? Yeah. Okay. Here we go.